Howdy there, folks. I'm Gene of RPG, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy, the Pixel Remastered version. Last time, we went and did a whole lot of jumping around to get treasure, and then we ended off by blowing up the land. By blowing up the land to make this canal here so we can actually escape the sea. Like that. And now, the whole world pretty much is our oyster. I guess. I don't know, that's always a weird saying. So our next destination is supposed to be this town here that's right outside the canal. And that is where we have to go next. However, we're gonna actually do things a little bit out of order because, well, we can go a surprisingly large number of places. So where I want to go, I'm a little surprised we haven't encountered new ocean enemies, because I do know that at this point they are out here somewhere. But anyway, I want to head over to the continent all the way on the right, and since the world is, you know, round, I can get here by traveling left. And we have new enemies here, Minotaurs and Trolls. I love the troll sprite. It looks like it has such a bad headache. The poor thing. And yes, as you can see, the enemies here are notably more difficult than stuff we've been encountering. And that's because this is an area that we're not quite supposed to go to yet. The trolls are weak to fire. I don't think the Minotaurs have an elemental weakness. But anyway, the enemies around here are notably tougher than what we're supposed to be encountering right now, but they're not so tough that we can't kill them, so I'm not as worried about it as you might think. Although I do only have 2 Phoenix Downs. But yeah, the enemies around here, they are tougher, but they're not the toughest things ever. They're easier to kill than you might think. And they, as you can see, they give a pretty hefty amount of gil and EXP at this point. I don't really care as much about the EXP because I don't care about level grinding at all. But the gil is important. However, that's not the only reason I want to come this way. Also, I'm going to use a tent. Gonna use a tent. We're also gonna go ahead and save in case things go horribly wrong, because that can happen. But I want to go to a town that's actually in the middle of the Crescent Moon Lake here. And how far I walked there is how you know this is not the original NES version. I would have gotten into like 30 encounters. Hill Gigases. They're Hill Gigases. They're floating giants. Their sprites have always been so weird. They're all like this in every version of the game I've ever played. And I don't understand why. That said, they're relatively tough. I think the Minotaurs and Trolls are tougher. As for an elemental weakness, I don't think they have one. I can double check on that after the fight from the bestiary, but I'm pretty sure they don't. And yeah, they give pretty good gil and EXP as well. This is where I'm going to be doing my money farming because, yes, we're at the next major money farming session, pretty much. But this is Crescent Lake. This is the town that we would be going to after, well, the one that I pointed out that we're supposed to go to. I wanted to come here first because, well, there happens to be pretty good stuff here, such as mithril equipment. As well as a buckler, which is better than you might think. And there's also mithril weapons. In many versions of this game, the mithril sword you could actually purchase in Elfheim. And it was also more expensive than this. But they removed it in... Oh, let me think here. I know it was removed from Elfheim in the 15th anniversary edition of the game, which you can no longer purchase on Steam or iOS, which is a shame because I actually do think that is the best version of Final Fantasy 1 still. But I believe all the other versions you can, and it's called a silver sword. Regardless, I do actually want to purchase 2 of these because, well, they're powerful. I could buy a mithril axe for our warrior to make him different. And you know what? On second thought, for diversity, I am going to end up doing that. So I do want to purchase a mithril sword and a mithril axe, just for diversity's sake. The mithril sword is more accurate, like a lot more accurate than the mithril axe. It's also way more powerful than like the Ruin Blade or the Worm Slayer. The mithril sword, that is. And by extension, so is the mithril axe. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the magic they sell here. 6th level spells, such as Stona, that cures stone, Exit, which teleports you out of a dungeon, Protera, which casts Protect on the entire party, raising their defense. You can cast it multiple times to continually boost their defense. Invisra, which raises the entire party's evasion rate. Pretty good spells, actually, for the white mage there. And the black mage gets Thundaga, the tier 3 lightning spell. Death, which instantly kills one enemy, has relatively high chances. Quake, which calls an earthquake to swallow enemies, does not work on flying enemies, but that's basically an instant death spell. And it's pretty darn good, I'm not gonna lie. But not enough that I'd want to purchase it. And there's Stun, which paralyzes one enemy. I really don't care. The only spell here that I recommend is Thundaga. But yes, we're at the next major farming session. Also, I wanted to come to Crescent Lake here because it has an item shop. The town we're supposed to go to does not have an item shop. And it is like the worst oversight they could have ever possibly had, because you're going to need supplies going through, I think it's called Gaia's Cave or something like that, because either the Marsh Cave or Gaia's Cave are the hardest dungeons in the game. But regardless, I need quite a lot of money, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be fighting the enemies outside of town here because I can't farm the mummies. You'll note the mummies die in one Fyra. Died in one Fyra. And gave 1,500 gil. And it's much faster, safer, and more lucrative overall than farming here. But, well, I can't farm the mummies in this version of the game. So, anyway, for me, it's going to take a fair bit. Because, again, I need a lot of money. I need a lot of money. But for you guys, it's going to go just like that. Alrighty, folks, I'm back. I got 100,000 gil. It didn't take that long because of the speed up stuff that is in... Well, by speed up, I mean the auto battle system. Oh, also, I think I forgot to mention, if you press the Y button, you can get a much more detailed map of the area. It's very nice. Anyway, because of the auto battle feature of the game and how that speeds up battles, it wound up not taking very long at all. Anyway, basically, I want to buy one of the mithril shields, one buckler, a mithril helm, and mithril gloves. Most of that is for Billy here. He's finally going to wear a shield, which boosts his defense and also has a chance of blocking attacks, which is very nice. Mithril gloves, and the mithril helmet, all slightly better things. The red mage can equip the buckler, and that's one of the only shields in the game that he can equip. I know the thief can equip it as well, so that's nifty. As for these guys, they're good. They're good. They don't need anything else as far as armor goes. Plus, I can't get any of it here. I already purchased weapons before we did the grind. Let's go ahead and buy spells. This is where things get spendy. Alright, I want Protera for Betty. I don't care about Invisra. I do want Stona for Betty. I also want Exit. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We are not high enough level. No, I'm sorry. It's not level. We're not the right class to get that spell. But I'll get into that actually sooner than you might think. But anyway, now I want to buy Thundaga for Ted. Alright, that sucked up half of our money, basically. But now we need to buy supplies for going forward in the next dungeon we have to go to. So, we have 3 cottages. That's good. I want to get probably 4 tents. I do not want to buy any remedies. They're horribly overpriced. I do want to get gold needles, though, because petrification is going to start being a very active thing. I also want some echo grass, some eye drops, some more antidotes, because poison's in this game for quite a long time. I want to get some Phoenix Downs. 10 should be plenty. Ethers, very important. So important that I'm getting 50. We're going to go ahead and just buy 90 regular potions, and let's get 17 high potions. That should be good, and it should also leave us with enough money, because there is still some other stuff we need to get from the town we're supposed to go to. How are my spell slots? I'm fully healed. Alright. So with that, we're done here at Crescent Lake for the time being. Let's go back to our ship. Alright, so back in our ship. Now we need to sail once again all the way to the right, because it is faster than going all the way to the left and around that whole continent. But we sail up here, and our docking spot will be right here. And welcome to Melmond. Looks kinda dreary, not gonna lie. Hi there. Restore the crystals to great. Yeah, a lot of NPCs you talk to actually say that. If the earth crystal regains its glow, life will return to the earth. The hills and valleys will again be green. Eventually, because when we actually do restore the earth crystal, because of course we're going to, that's our job. This place still looks the same. Hi there. Stop by my father's shop, okay? Sure. Which one is your father's shop? Brilliant writing. Watts is my name. Come all the way from Durgar to find out if the Springhide. In the cave on the southern tip of this continent lives a man named Sada. He is a wise man who knows much. Alright, well, we'll have to keep a lookout for him. This house is destroyed. Hi. Long ago, a prosperous civilization thrived in the Northland. Now it's fallen into ruin. Okay. I've heard that the ancients, of course it's the ancients, possess something with power to make ships float in the sky. It's always ancients. It's never anything else. Those are just gravestones. The giant living in the cave eats rocks. He'll eat just about any kind of rock, but I hear he especially likes gems. He can't get enough of them. Alright, we'll have to remember that. You have a unique sprite. There's nothing that I, the great genius Dr. Une, do not know. What? You've never heard of me? Inconceivable! Okay. So the Cavern of Earth is to the south of Melmond, on a peninsula called the Devil's Tail. It used to be closer. Used to be the closer you got to the cave, the more fertile the soil. Now it's a barren waste. Hi. The Earth is decaying, and it's all the doing of the vampire that lives in the Cavern of Earth. Our town is in such rotten shape because he's blocking the flow of the power of Earth. Will you stop him for us? Alright, sounds like we've got a vampire to kill. Alright, so let's take a look at this shop here. The most notable thing that they sell is actually the silver armlet. I want to buy one of them. The thing that you'll immediately notice is the knight's armor. 36,000 gil. It's so not worth it. It is much stronger than the iron armor that we're going to be using for a while still, but it's so expensive. It's ridiculous. And it's not worth it. I did want to buy the silver armlet, though, because, well, that way Betty now has fairly decent defense. And that's, well... while we're here, let's take a look at weapons. Not to spoil too much, but none of them are going to be as good as what we have. The Crosshair! That's the staff I was thinking of, that only the warrior and I believe the monk can equip. The Saber! Longsword! Falchion! All less than stellar weapons. In fact, I believe all of these weapons are weaker than the ones we found in the chest, except for maybe the longsword. While I'm here, though, speaking of, I want to go ahead and sell everything we're not going to use. Like the power staff. I don't need that. That's 6,000 gil I can use towards stuff. Iron armor. I already have one. Chainmail. Don't need them anymore. Clothes. We're going streaking, boys. Steel gauntlets. Copper armlet. Bronze gloves. Ruined blade. Wear buster. Dagger. The great helm. The worm killer may be worth keeping, but I'd rather have the money right now. And yeah, that looks good to me. So once again, I said this while we were in Crescent Lake, there is no item shop here. Which means you'd have to backtrack to probably Elfheim if you want to get items, or go to Crescent Lake. Anyway, let's take a look at the spells available to us here. Faraga is the most notable one. It deals fire damage. It is the tier 3 fire spell, and it's fantastic. I love it. Scourge. Scourge is an instant death spell against all enemies. It's only so-so chances of working. It's just like Quake, except I believe this can affect flying enemies. Not the best thing. Teleport. It's like the exit spell, except it only warps you to the previous floor you were on. Only really useful in certain situations. Slow Ra I've already talked about, but it reduces one target's number of attacks. And it has a higher chance of working than regular slow. The only spell here that I actually care about is Faraga, because Faraga's awesome. And then in the white magic shop, there is quite a few spells here that are relatively worthwhile. I don't need life in this version of the game because you can get Phoenix Downs, and they do the same thing. Instead, we're going to go ahead and get Curaga for Betty, Diaga for Betty, and Hilara for Betty. And then we're going to get Curaga for Bobby, just in case. Probably won't use it, though, to be honest with you. And with that, I believe we managed to somehow make it, and we won't really need to farm for money again, I don't believe. I really hope not. Anyway, let's go ahead and rest up, and then let's see if we can do something about that vampire. Of course, we actually got to get to the vampire first. Luckily, shields are awesome. As you saw, that is the shield at work. Shields have a chance of blocking attacks, and that's pretty great. As I was going to say, though, luckily someone told us that we need to go to a cave to the south that's on the Devil's Tail Peninsula. Here we have lesser tigers. They're like better tigers, except they're lesser. What? What'd you expect from me? I mean, that's what they are. They're lesser tigers. Obviously, they are saber-toothed tigers, and they do actually hit a little hard. Keep in mind, we're pretty well set up defensively because we went to Crescent Lake. So, yeah, but they are somewhat difficult. Anyway, this is the cave we're looking for. Let's go ahead and save. And we're going to sort our items, for one. I very much recommend making sure you have gold needles and antidotes on hand for this dungeon, because there are enemies that can petrify you, and poison's going to be a constant pain in the butt. here we go. The Cavern of Earth. I'm pretty sure it was called the Gaia Cave. So I do want to mention over here to the left. Also, this is where we would first encounter Minotaurs, and I think Trolls as well. And I know Hill Gigases are in here. And as you can see, we're quite a bit tougher. Ooh, a knife. Swanky. I do want to mention over here, because this is an example. This area over here is an example of them having removed monster encounter tiles. Because if you went this way in just about, well, no, any other version of the game, you would be encountering enemies like Hill Gigases every other step, basically. And that's signified by these guys over here. Here we have lizards! They're lizards. No, they're lizards. I mean, they are weak to ice, I believe, as most reptiles are. I do not believe they have the ability to petrify you. I know later versions of them do. I don't think those ones do. But yeah, you would be getting into that exact same encounter pretty much every other step. So in other versions of the game, this cave is also really difficult because it is very twisty and turny. It is very twisty and turny. In this version of the game, however, you have the map, and that makes things much easier to navigate. And also saves you quite a bit of frustration because part of what makes this dungeon, or what made this dungeon difficult, is going to a dead end and having to turn around and walk back. And basically doubling your number of encounters. Monsters! Here we have an Earth Elemental. It's funny, when I think of Earth Elementals, I do not think something that looks like that. I think of kind of like rock monsters. But then again, that's just me. Anyway, the Earth Elementals, I believe they can cast Quake, actually, which can instantly kill your entire party. As you can see, they have pretty beefy defense, but we do enough damage to get in there. Why did it not do anything? Well, either way, they're not that tough, but we are going to be seeing quite a few of them in boxes. Man, Billy's doing great for stats. Then again, the Warriors always do. Warrior is such a good class. In fact, the only reason I'm not using 2 Warriors is just because I want to have diversity among the team. Alright, but let's head, nope, to the right, takes us down a floor. I'm navigating entirely by the map. More anacondas! They're nothing to worry about at this point. Then again, they were really never anything to worry about all that much. But I want to head down this way because it takes us to treasure. Alright, so here we have an Ogre Chief and 2 Ogres. I'm not sure if I've actually shown this fight on screen before or not, but just to be safe, let's go ahead and show it. And you know what? Let's use Thundaga here. Ogre Chiefs are just stronger ogres. That's it. I do like that animation for Thundaga, but I gotta say I miss the other versions of it more. And you're going to be hearing that throughout most of the Pixel remasters. Most of them. Eventually, animations for some of the spells change. But the first 3 Final Fantasies in particular, oh man, they use the same animations for basically all the spells. Anyway, monsters! It is once again an Earth Elemental. As you can see, pretty high physical attack as well, which I would expect from an Earth Elemental. But we're able to cut through its defense pretty easily, so... A potion! Yay! And 880 gil. That's good, because we will still need gil. We're not at the point where we no longer need any money, but we should be getting plenty of money going forward. Alright, let's see here. We gotta heal off poison. Monsters! And another Earth Elemental. I told you, we're gonna be encountering these a lot. 795 gil. Very nice. Monsters! Yeah. I told you, you encounter them all the time. And an antidote. Those chests may not have actually been worth the time. Anyway, now let's go ahead and make our way down the staircase. Hey, a bat! Hey, I was going to talk to the bat. Key! And that's what all the bats are. But it's funny, the bats are meant to be a nuisance, but in this version of the game, if you keep trying to go in the direction that NPC is, which in this case would be the bats, they count as NPCs, they will move to get out of your way. And so they're just a minor nuisance. In earlier versions of this game, they very much would clutter your path, and it made things drag. There's nothing down here! Troll! Yeah, I believe this floor is where we can start encountering trolls. Again, I love that sprite. Look how bad of a headache the poor thing has. Atta boy Bobby. And Betty. Well, atta girl Betty. Pretty sure Betty's not a girl. Or, not a girl. Not a boy. I'm pretty sure. Although the white mage in particular, their sprites are very androgynous. And so it's... I can see it being a girl. A coral sword. Okay, so the coral sword, we're not going to use it. It's not very good. But it is extra effective against aquatic enemies. Much like how the Worm Slayer is super strong against dragons and so on. If I didn't go and get the mithril weapons that I did from Crescent Lake, there's a good chance that those are the best that you're going to get. Sorry, what I mean is that sword's going to be one of the better ones that you have access to at this point. So it's important to make mention of. How are we doing? Cockatrices! Alright, so these things suck. They can petrify you pretty easily, too. With just their normal attack, even. I actually got lucky there that it didn't happen. It can happen a lot. They can drop gold needles, but it's not a guarantee. If your entire party gets petrified, that's a game over. It's basically death. Oh good, a sleeping bag. That's never gonna get used. Mummies! Finally! Yeah, we can now encounter mummies. Which, I mean, I'm glad, I guess. It's just, I miss my money farming spot. I really do. Yeah, Dialga's great against undead enemies, as you saw. It obliterates them pretty easily. Diara does a good job, too. Yes, the werewolves and the wargwolves can also show up down here. That said, they're no match for fire! Or rather, Faraga. As you can see. I would be more sparing with my spell slots normally, but I have ethers, so... And yes, Pisco Demons are now regular encounters as well. Likely because, well, I mean, we're so much stronger than we were. But, and they get a critical hit, it still hurts! You jerks! That said, we don't need to waste time buffing up to kill them. Alright, but, yeah, they still hurt a little bit when they get critical hits. Alright, let's keep moving, though. There's more treasure to get. Ooh, that's a nice, hefty chunk of gil. And yeah, I've lost track of which zombie creatures we have actually encountered at this point, in which we haven't. It doesn't matter. They do the same stuff. I probably could have killed the mummies with Diara, now that I think about it, but I wanted to use Diaga. I actually do really like the Dia spells, but I believe this is the only Final Fantasy they're in. I believe. I could be mistaken about that. Hi. It is indeed an earth element. Yeah. And no, there's nothing in that room. Alright, let's see. Is there a chest down? No, there's not. I knew it! Of course, though, to be fair, part of the reason I like the Dia spell so much might be because my favorite class to play in Dungeons & Dragons are clerics. I really like clerics. And let's see, the White Mage in Final Fantasy XIV, last time I played, mind you, because it's actually been a couple years since I last played. I want to get back into it, but it's just not the time right now. Anyway, last I knew, they used Earth and... Wow, that's a lot of Ogre Chiefs. Earth and Wind and Water spells. Let's actually use Blizzara here. And we're going to use Thundaga. And folks, here we are! A bat! All things in this world are destined to end in death. The seal cannot be broken, and so the earth shall rot. You cannot alter destiny. Mere mortals cannot kill the undying. Alright, boss time against the vampire. Alright, so him being undead means that he is susceptible to fire as well as Diaga. So we're just going to lay into him with our spells. And yeah, he can paralyze you with his gaze, but that's nothing to worry about. Oh, that was pathetic. Huh. It's actually kind of suspiciously pathetic. But in this chest, we got the Star Ruby. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter that he was pathetic. We stopped him, so. Although I'm not sure what's up with the stone slab. Evidently, there's an evil force. Well, regardless, we can't do anything with that at the moment, and fucking cockatrices. As I was saying, we can't do anything with that yet. So, I mean, I guess we go back and tell the people we killed the vampire? And yeah, that's part of what makes this dungeon one of the hardest ones in the game, is, even though I've been breezing through it pretty easily. Then again, this version of the game is much easier. Much easier than the NES version. Regardless, part of what makes this dungeon suck is, much like the Great Marsh, or the Marsh Cave, or whatever it's called, I'm forgetting at the moment, you have to walk back out. But, of course, I'm not going to make you guys watch that. So, folks, next time on Final Fantasy, the Pixel Remaster version, we're gonna tell the people in Melman, hey, we killed the vampire. Yeah. Go us. I'm Gene of RPG. I'll see you guys then.